friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. I have a feeling we're going to see some pretty dramatic shifts in grocery prices this winter and into the spring and summer of 2027. If that happens, I think a lot of us are going to need to move beyond simply shopping sales and start looking at the bigger picture of how we buy and cook our food. So I want to share my story in hopes that it helps you do just that. I used to try to save money on groceries in all the wrong places. I clipped coupons. I was one of those extreme couponers that treated it like my part-time job. I'd drive across town because chicken was 37 cents cheaper at that store. I'd switch brands left and right. By no means am I brand loyal. And I did many, many other things. But after all of that, I was still spending more than I should. And sometime around 2018, 2019, I realized the core issue. I didn't have a grocery budget problem. I had a cooking system problem. Now, I am going to tell you something that sounds completely backwards coming from someone who writes recipes as part of my living. The meals that save us the most money are the ones that I don't need a recipe for because they are streamlinable, and it turns out that that is incredibly valuable. It's my goal to spend the rest of this video explaining how and why and what all of this could mean for your grocery budget. Real quick, though, I want to tell you about our food storage plan if you haven't gotten it already. Our 1-year food storage plan is a free PDF printable that breaks down a year's worth of shelf-stable food week by week so you can grocery shop normally with just a few extra items added each week. It'll be linked in the description box, or you can comment food storage and I'll reply to your comment directly with the link to get it. Okay, now for the bombshell that I'm getting ready to drop on you. In our family, we rotate through the same 30 to 40 meals over the course of an entire year. Now, every time I say that, people imagine us eating spaghetti every Monday, meatloaf every Wednesday, forever. And I think many of us have been taught to think of dinner as 30 different decisions every month. And my goodness, I don't know about y'all, but that sounds exhausting. But by 30 to 40 meals, it actually provides a tremendous amount of variety while alleviating the brain fatigue that comes from figuring out what you're going to eat every day for the rest of your life. So think about it in your own family. How many meals does everyone actually get excited about? What do they request on a regular basis? How many recipes do you make over and over because you enjoy them and they fit your schedule? It's probably fewer than you think. Now, our rotation changes with the seasons. Summer meals are different than winter meals. The garden season changes, and that's kind of dictates what we eat. So fresh tomatoes in summer are going to mean a completely different dish than frozen tomatoes in January. But overall, the list does not change much from year to year. Here's why. Because we already know what we're going to cook. We know exactly what ingredients we'll need for the entire year, which really impacts our budget in a great way. I don't have to wonder how many cans of diced tomatoes we'll use this year. I already know. I don't have to guess how many pounds of ground beef we typically eat. I already know. I know how many jars of salsa are going to disappear every month. I know how many cans of venison are going to disappear each month to dictate whether or not we need to go hunting this fall or winter. How much flour we bake with, how many pounds of potatoes we grow. It's not because I keep complicated spreadsheets, although I do love a good spreadsheet, but because after making the same core meals for years, I've simply learned my household's rhythm. And once you know your household's rhythm, shopping becomes very simple and very streamlined. Let's look at a specific example. Imagine your family uses 4 jars of pasta sauce every month. That's 48 jars per year. Now let's say your grocery store puts that brand on sale every 6 months. So instead of buying 4 jars for 1 month, you're going to buy 24 jars for 6 months. Or if it's a really good sale, go ahead and spring and buy all 48. Now I'm not going to be buying 6 months or a year's supply because I'm worried about shortages. I do it because I know that if transportation or energy costs were to spike, as we've seen happen before with major shipping routes becoming unstable, I'm already insulated from paying those higher prices on the foods that I already know I'm going to use on a weekly basis. That's not hoarding, that's prepaying for groceries that I was already going to buy. Now, this is something I think gets misunderstood frequently. People see a pantry full of food and assume someone is buying everything in bulk out of fear or that they're doom and gloom about the future. But that's not what this is, or at least it's not what we do. We buy in bulk because we know we're going to use it. And if I don't know how quickly we'll use something, if it's for a meal that if I just start throwing in meals that I've never made before, I'm not going to buy 6 months of the thing. That's how food gets wasted. That's how money gets wasted. But the entire system depends on knowing what your family actually eats. And when you do that, you can put your money in those areas where it is most important and stock up on its on sale. And this becomes even more beneficial if you're trying to live like a seed to table lifestyle like we are, because now the grocery store isn't the only thing that I'm shopping from. I'm planning my garden. I'm planning my preservation season. I'm planning my freezer space. I'm planning canning season. If I know exactly how many jars of tomato sauce that I use every year because I use tomato sauce in the same 10 recipes from January through December, then I know exactly how many tomatoes I need to grow. Or how about beans? If I know how many pounds of beans we eat because we eat one bean-based dish per week, I know how many rows to plant to achieve that pound amount. If we use 20 bags of frozen corn every year, that's the amount I'm going to grow and preserve, and so on and so on. So those 30 to 40 core meals dictate pretty much our entire growing and preserving and shopping habits, because those meals really make this lifestyle of growing and preserving your own food. It makes it practical instead of running around like a chicken with my head cut off, not knowing what to do, because I had started out that way. Now, maybe you don't have a garden. Maybe you don't plan on ever canning a single tomato, and that's fine. This idea of a yearly rotation of meals still works because the idea applies to grocery stores too. When butter drops to its lowest price of the year, you can know exactly how many pounds that you need to buy to last you through the next sales cycle. Same thing with shredded cheese, coffee, flour, rice, beans, whatever your staples are. Now here's something I've noticed. The less predictable that your meals become, the harder and more expensive cooking gets. If every week starts with scrolling Pinterest looking for something new and exciting, well, one recipe wants curry paste, the next one wants tahini, then another one calls for preserved lemons, and then another one capers, and then one needs a specialty vinegar. Now, none of those ingredients are bad, and I definitely appreciate Pinterest in moderation, but if you're only using them once, it gets expensive because you use a little bit out of the jar for a recipe and then it disappears in the back of your fridge or pantry. Now, again, I'm not criticizing recipes. They can teach us. They can inspire us. I mean, here at Food Prep Guy, we published 3 cookbooks. So recipes definitely have their place. But the most economical meals are the ones that you don't need a recipe for anymore. You know the meals so well that you can make them from memory. And if you're out of one ingredient, you already know what works instead. No need to spend $5 on a single ingredient that you may never use again. You can just open your pantry, the freezer, go out to your garden, and build dinner from what you already have instead of a shopping list. Now, there's actually another benefit to cooking this way that few people talk about, and I mentioned it earlier in this video, and that's decision fatigue. How many times have you stood in front of your refrigerator at 5 o'clock saying, what are we going to make tonight? But when your meals exist as a rotation, that question mostly disappears. Dinner becomes easier, shopping becomes easier, meal planning is a breeze, and at least in this area of life, things can get just a little quieter and easier to manage. So if your goal is to spend less on groceries, don't start with your shopping list. Start with your system. Build a core rotation of meals that use ingredients your family already loves and enjoys. Learn those meals so well that you don't need a recipe every time you make them. And once your cooking becomes predictable, everything else will fall into place. You know what to keep in your pantry. You know what to plant in your garden. You know what you need to preserve. And when your staple ingredients that you still need to buy at the store hit their lowest prices of the year, you know exactly how much to buy to get you through 6 months to a year. It's not a guessing game anymore. And that's where the savings come from. By building a system that works month after month, and year after year. So before I wrap up, let me summarize kind of everything in one sentence. A meal rotation is the foundation of a sustainable food system that's friendly to both your budget and your brain. At the end of the day, I don't think the goal is to become a smarter shopper, although that can certainly help us reach our goals. I think the goal is to build a kitchen that almost runs itself, where you already know what's for dinner, you already know what's in the pantry, you know it needs to be planted, preserved, and stocked up on. It's just a much less expensive way to feed a family. And with the world in the volatile state that it's in, I think there's real value in having a kitchen built around predictable, wholesome meals that your family already loves. When things are predictable, your ingredients become predictable, and your costs become predictable, which allows you to plan months ahead of time, buy when prices are at their lowest, and lock those savings in long before the next round of price increases arrive, which unfortunately I think we will see sometime in the winter or the spring of next year. Okay, I'm hopping off my soapbox now. I hope this video proves helpful to you. That's all for today. We'll see you next time. Bye.